Victor Hugo's Wondrous Feast, the true story of how the author of Les Miserables inspired the world to love. Victor Hugo loved life. Born in France in 1802, he was still a boy when he discovered that he could use words to express his love for people, ideas, and causes. He also learned that he could inspire readers to do hard things, including helping people in need, regardless of their backgrounds and beliefs. And since that is the most courageous kind of love, Victor knew that he had an important work to do. When he was just 10 years old, Victor wrote his first play. 5 years later, the prestigious French Academy awarded one of his poems honorable mention, even though the judges did not believe such a young person had written it. At the age of 20, he published his first book and married his childhood friend, Adèle Fouché. Victor and Adèle's family grew quickly, and so did their love for their children. At night, Victor told them stories and left little drawings on their pillows. He believed that all children come from God, and he wrote about them with love and respect. And how he wrote, page after page after page. The more that people read his stories, poems, and plays, the more they were inspired by his descriptions of love, forgiving enemies, feeding the poor, befriending the lonely, and protecting the weak. Victor himself aspired to love in this active way. In 1851, when a new emperor diminished freedoms and disregarded the poor, Victor's love for France and her people prompted him to speak up. This angered the government, so for safety, the Hugos moved to Belgium and then to the Channel Islands. But living in exile far away from home and friends was not easy for Victor and Adèle, or for their grown children. Eventually, the Hugos settled on the island of Guernsey. There, Victor bought Hauteville House, a 3-story mansion perched on a hill overlooking the town of St. Peter Port. One morning, Adèle went to market. She was used to passing all kinds of people on the street, but that day, what she saw touched her heart and filled her with a special kind of love. Standing in the sunlight was a 5-year-old girl holding a small child. The younger one was crying for her mother. They had no coats, no shoes, and no one to look after them. When Adèle returned home, she told Victor, "I cannot get their faces from my mind. I imagine our own children standing there, with nothing to eat and nowhere to go." "Ah," Victor exclaimed, "the light of conscience is not easy to put out." For Victor, that light was the quiet voice in all of us, a feeling that we should act, even though it may not be easy. "So," he asked Adèle, "what will we do to help those poor children?" At first, Adèle wrote to newspapers to raise funds for daycare, but the money she received was not enough, so she gave it to local charities. She also made swaddling blankets to help needy mothers wrap their newborn babies. Meanwhile, from his writing room overlooking the ocean, Victor was finishing his most famous story, Les Miserables, or in English, The Wretched Ones. Readers would come to love many characters in that book, including several children in need. Dear little Cosette, brave Gavroche, and his heroic older sister, Éponine. They may have been on Victor's mind when he read an interesting medical report. Doctors had discovered that many childhood diseases could be prevented if children ate better food, including at least one balanced meal each month. So, led by the light of conscience, Victor and Adèle made a plan. In March 1862, Adèle announced to their servants, "We have decided to invite the poorest children in Guernsey for a weekly dinner with us here in Hauteville House." Adèle told the cook, "I want the children to have the finest meal possible, only the best cuts of beef, no scraps." But their son Charles did not like the idea. "What, inside our house? They are urchins and beggars, with bugs in their hair and dirt on their clothes, and they don't smell nice." But Victor and Adele were determined to look beyond outward appearances. "The dinners should be open to children of all nationalities, backgrounds, and religions," Victor directed. "If there are vacant places, admit the poorest children first." Later, he explained his special feeling for these young guests. "They, too, are outcasts," he wrote, "exiled from all enjoyment and happiness." In the beginning, the Hugos arranged for 8 children to attend the dinners, then 15, then 32. Soon there were 2 groups rotating every other week, including a few mothers. Once through the tall front doors, the children freely explored the richly appointed house, each room a reminder that a great author named Victor Hugo knew them and welcomed them in. A few months later, the Hugos hosted 40 children for an elaborate Christmas celebration. Victor also invited journalists, artists, priests, and other dignitaries, hoping they would write about their experiences and inspire similar dinners around the world. When these grown-up visitors arrived, Victor explained to them, "Dear friends, what we are doing here in our home, all of us have a responsibility to do. So we ask you to join us. Come, help, serve." With that encouragement, all rolled up their sleeves to wait on the children, serve them food, and present them with gifts. Victor's plan worked. The visitors reported what they saw and felt in newspaper editorials, articles, and letters. The children entered happily, without shyness, as if it were their own home. Though the children were poor and wretched, the Hugos received them with open arms. Gifts of clothing are laid out on the billiard table, and there is a Christmas tree with toys and presents just for them. Mr. Hugo gathered the children around him. "You are my little brothers and sisters in the good Lord," he said. "You do not owe me anything, but you should be grateful to God, the Father of us all. If you want to thank anyone for it, it should be Him." After the eldest child offered prayer, all partook of the sumptuous meal. Joyfully, they slurped soup, savored roast beef, and gobbled pastries, pies, and puddings. But they devoured more than food. They feasted on love. As Victor hoped, word of the dinners spread. Similar efforts were undertaken for impoverished children in Britain, Europe, South America, the Caribbean, and the United States. In one London parish, 6,000 children enjoyed a banquet inspired by the Hugos' wondrous Christmas feast. And wondrous it was. But the wonder was not so much in the food as in the feeling. People of varied ages and backgrounds filled the Hugos' home with laughter and conversation. Notwithstanding their different cultures, religious denominations, and economic backgrounds, they sat side by side, feasting together made them one. For 7 more years, as long as the Hugos lived in Guernsey, children came weekly to Hauteville House for a meal. Victor and Adele spent 1/3 of their household budget to buy the food and prepare it. Victor also wrote about what he called the rights of the child, advocating that children be protected, healthy, and happy. Why did the Hugos do so much to bless little ones? The answer can be found in 3 words Victor wrote just before he died. Aimer, c'est agir, which in English means to love is to act. It is a theme, a golden thread, running through all his work. Victor's work was not just writing about love, it was also about inspiring people to love in an active way, the way taught by a light greater than Victor himself. He explained to his adult visitors, "Has not the Lord said, 'Suffer the children to come unto me'? I desire that this invitation be universally accepted. It is not just a charitable meal for needy children. It is a way to foster brotherhood, sow seeds of human solidarity, and make peace." Victor Hugo did love life. When he died, he left behind over 50 published works affirming that everyone can love others, including those who may be very different from us. Whether painting a picture, baking a pie, or fixing a pipe, to love is to act, to do whatever we can to help a person in need. When that is our aim, we are not content to remain at a distance. We willingly open ourselves to know, understand, and serve the people around us, whoever they may be. Loving in this way, we see the true light in one another, even the face of God. And that is the most wondrous feast of all.